How's it going, everybody? My name is Mitchell Willie, and I am the founder of Legacy Discoveries. Um, so, a little bit about what we're doing today is I'm going to be going over everything that Site Hotel has been thus far. Um, and we're going to get pretty detailed with it too on theories and other circumstances that we're looking into as well. Pardon me, I just had my breakfast, so I hope you guys don't mind that I have my nicotine with me. As this is already stated, these documentations are not actually meant for children, so um, viewer discretion advised. I'm gonna cuss. I'm gonna be myself because that's who I am. So, anyways, we came across something very strange early on this year, and it happened 2 days after the eclipse had happened. Now, we typically don't like put out very much unless it's something that we know for a fact. But I've been stirring up this kind of theory that I want to see if anybody else would like to jump aboard and help me, find answers in this theory. And the theory being that our world is actually made up of many different layers and layers of dimensions, I guess, would be another good way to put it. Now, I don't really know too much about dimensions other than three: here, heaven, and hell, the three H's. Those That's my best take on dimensions. But if I were to indulge others and those of you who believe there to be, X amount of dimensions and stuff, humor me for a second. So, what if you take all these dimensions and they're just another layer to the world that we know? We perceive everything three dimensionally. Um, we use our six senses or our five senses, to perceive things that are in this dimension, I guess. Um, but what if an event like the eclipse would be something that would either uh, peel back a layer or maybe give us a preview into other layers of what we know is our world. Um, what we're starting to notice is that around these events, um, poltergeist activity seems to increase. Um, that being said, that's actually what brought us to the intention here at Site Hotel. Not just because we're living here, um, but because the poltergeist activity that just started out of nowhere. So that's what we're covering today. Um, so after attempting an art piece that I did, I'm gonna read all of this out of the logbook that I've taken from day one of it happening. Um, but after attempting an art piece, I did this piece. So you see a young lady standing up on her tippy toes to give out a bouquet of flowers. And then you take the good old black light and you look and you start to see there are other characters off in the trees that only show themselves with eye shine. Just the same as you're spotlighting at night and anything, looking for eye shine, that's what you find here. So I'm pretty happy with that piece, actually. But when I was doing this piece, I needed two specific things. I needed paintbrushes and I needed a pencil sharpener. Now I looked everywhere high and dry for that pencil sharpener, and it originally was supposed to be a Woodburn, um, and I even tore apart my truck because I got a hand crank pencil sharpener, and one of them little guys. I'm pretty sure you guys know which ones I'm talking about. Um, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I ended up having to sharpen my pencil with some sandpaper. But that works. It's something I do in the field, when I'm doing my construction and stuff, and it works. But now after I had gotten this all drawn out and everything, I was looking around for the wood burning kit. I could not find it anywhere to save my life, and I ended up calling my mom, and my mom had told me that she packed it with her down to Oregon. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna switch from wood burning to um, painting then. And so I'm like, well, I got my paint here. So I started looking through my drawers, and I found my little palette of paint, but I could not find my paintbrushes anywhere. And so I was looking for them. My wife was looking for them. Our mother-in-law, or my mother-in-law, her mom was looking for one. Um, Nobody could find anything. So we ended up having to go over to the cousin's house, and they hooked us up with some paintbrushes and some paint. Um, and after completing the artwork on April 10th at 4:45 p.m., my mom and my wife had found two paintbrushes and a pencil sharpener with a small X made out of sticks on our picnic table outside. These are the two paintbrushes. Now we cleaned them up. We cleaned them up quite well actually, but they were pretty beat up and kind of scratched up, and there's a bunch of gunk that was like stuck on them and stuff. So they were well used for quite some time. And this is the pencil sharpener. This is both a manual and a automatic. Dogs are freaking out. Give me a sec. Okay, dogs are outside. All right. So after we'd found the paintbrushes and the pencil sharpener, we actually ended up going around questioning everybody on the property, and nobody knew I was looking for it. Nobody knew what I was looking for, or why I was. Nobody even knew I was doing this piece of art that I was doing. So it made us go, okay, this is something that we study, so let's get to it then. It's happening right here in our front yard. So we understood it as a gift, therefore, we decided to gift in return and immediately test the poltergeist activity. Test 1 commenced at 9 o'clock p.m. on April 10th, 2024, using a large abalone shell. That's a 9-inch by 7-inch abalone shell. This is something that I use for blessings, and this is also something I use for cleansing as well. So I've actually exorcised a house with this. That was quite the experience, actually. So I do a lot of praying with this too, and if you guys are folk of faith, you'll know in the Old Testament the Lord does like his incense. He really does. So I burn a lot of incense in that and pray. So, um, using a large 9-inch by 7-inch abalone shell as our offering bowl, we added sweetgrass, grandfather sage, tobacco, which was from a cigarette, and various crystals. Now we put the tobacco inside one of these Tupperwares. There's a little tobacco in there too. But because it requires thumbs to open these, you have to have thumbs to get these lids off right here. Like I have no doubt that a crow could probably do this as smart as they are, but they wouldn't be able to do it cleanly. They would and neat. It would be all over the place, and everything would be kind of a muck. Um, But we also added 2 Australian opals with color play. Um, really pretty crystals. Um, one opal I had was shaped like Idaho State. I actually, I buy a rough opal from Australia, and it gets shipped to me. And sometimes when I'm cutting, I let the rock kind of do its thing, and I just kind of follow what the rock's doing. And this one came out looking just like Idaho State. And what was really cool is where the South Fork of the Snake River is down between Grangeville and Elk City down there. Um, there was a bit of color play that ran through in that stone right there that was blue. So it looked just like the Snake River was running through it. So it was really a neat stone. Um, there was also a red jasper, uh, a rose quartz, and a tree agate, and a thunder egg that had clear crystal. Um, Using the idea that intentions are what is understood in these interactions, um, we decided to state our intention, or our intended question was asking, "Are you there?" Um, Also note the. Um, okay, I already said that. It's just saying that the tobacco's in one of the Tupperwares. I left my Rockin' 71 symbol that you see on my wrist right here. So that's my family's cattle brand. Been in the generations, or sorry, but been in the family for generations. So that's how I identify myself with them. So I decided to make it out of sticks, and I put it right next to the little X that they had left with the paint brushes and the pencil sharpener. So on Thursday, April 11th at 7 a.m., the results concluded positive. The Rockin' 71 had changed to a different asterisk that we believe, since this was my introduction, like the Rockin' 71 is me, this is what it changed to. So we believe this could possibly be a name. Since I introduced myself, maybe this is someone introducing themselves. So the tobacco container was opened and dumped into the abalone shell. So they popped the lid open and then just tipped it over in the abalone shell, and then placed the container without the lid back into the shell, and the lid was actually out just outside of the shell. Um, the sage and sweetgrass was left alone. All of the rocks were taken, all of them gone. Um, the test results indicates current activity to be highly responsive with positive behavior. And moving on to test 2, I decided, okay, well, I did a video a while back that was trying to involve my audience with the research that we're doing here. And one of the coolest ideas that my audience had come up with is, why don't you try out a chalkboard? I want to see what they do with a chalkboard. And so I went up and I picked myself up a chalkboard. And so starting at test number 2, that's when we started doing the chalkboard as well. In the bowl, we put sweetgrass, ground coffee in a Tupperware, um, a small nug of, and 5 stones as well. The rose quartz, the clear quartz, topaz, garnet, an Idaho opal, and then we also added a pile of 3-inch to 6-inch twigs for asterisk use as well. So using the chalkboard to copy the symbols, excuse me, using the chalkboard to copy the symbols they use to communicate, I decided to put my Rockin' 71, the symbol that they had left, and then I drew a stick figure family, all holding hands, and then one really, really tall individual that we are all holding hands with. And then I made sure to draw me with my big, my big hat, because I always wear my big hat. So maybe this is my way of identifying myself. Maybe that's their way of identifying me, the one with the big hat. Okay. Um, and a side test, my wife had actually placed a button, just a sewing button in the bowl, and in request of a bigger button. Um, and on Friday, April 12th at 6:43 a.m., the chokeweed had been taken out of the offering bowl. So that now adds more weight to what the farmers and growers of Washington, Oregon, California, Wyoming, Utah, all these places that grow this stuff. There's stories coming from the farmers that they're getting robbed by them. They like chokeweed, so calling it that because I'm trying to keep it as PG as I possibly can here. So the rose quartz, the clear quartz, the opal, and the topaz were all taken. The garnet was the only stone that was left behind this day. The coffee was left alone. No twigs was used for asterisks, but we got a drawing on the chalkboard. So you remember the stick figure family that I drew. I also drew their symbol along with my own. So I drew that symbol and my Rockin' 71 symbol on my wrist there, along with the stick figure family. And what came back, I tried drawing this exact dimensions, or to match the exact size. Well, not the exact size, it would be much bigger than that, but the dimensional size of it is very, very similar to what was on the chalkboard. Now, below that was the X. There was another X that was drawn below this stick figure, and the head of it was noticeably cone-shaped as well, too. Now, there's quite a few theories on the back burner right now, because I understand this as that could be a self-portrait right there. They could be drawing themselves. Others believe it's a stick structure, and the amount of sticks or the amount of hatches in the drawing are the amount of clan members in their clan, and the dome-shaped head is unknown. But to me, that looks like maybe somebody who doesn't draw might have just tried drawing something, So that to me was very astronomical, actually. On Friday, April 12th, after the results had been found, I called up my team psychic, and she's actually wonderful at doing these type of things. She does cleansing, she does readings, and she's just a wonderful team member to have. So we had her come out and try and get a reading on the area, see what she was thinking about it, because now 2 different team members at this point in time had tried doing a form of mind speak where it's more of a reading than anything. So, and one team member had come up with a young reddish-haired female. A young reddish-haired female. That's what one team member had came up with. Now, Tanya had come out and done this reading for us too, and she then added to that without us even saying, she then added to that she was also thinking that this was a young female. And during this review, we actually came across looking further at the chalkboard, because the sun is now positioned at a different point in the sky. And now I'm sitting at the coffee table and I'm looking at the chalkboard at the drawing that they left us. And I all of a sudden discover knuckle prints and a thumbprint too. Just like that. I even have it drawn out here on how it looked. Upon closer inspection of this, we were looking at the deep detail of the chalk, and you could actually see hair scratches that go through the chalk too. So that was more of like a holy crap, that's pretty intense right there. But still, what are we dealing with? So Friday, April 12th, test number 3 will be conducted at 10 o'clock p.m. The offering bowl contents are garlic salt in a container, chokeweed in a container, 1 Bigfoot magnet left by our team psychic, 2 incense, and a handful of clear quartz crystals charged to 480 hertz, also left by our team psychic. There were 2 amethysts, a small rough emerald, and a piece of Idaho opal also left in the bowl. The chalkboard had stick figures drawn in blue and pink to represent a boy and a girl, to ask what gender. The figures drawn to ask if they used portals, orbs, or walking for transportation. And the same symbols that I had been using, my Rockin' 71 and the symbol that kind of looks like an A or something. So that was all left on the chalkboard. Saturday, April 13th, 2024 at 7:33 a.m. We had 4 symbols show up that day. All made out of sticks. These were the symbols that were left behind. Now, I've been doing quite a bit of research into asterisk literature, and what I keep coming up with is we're finding quite a bit of similarities, and some of them directly relate to the Hebrew language. And listening to the Sierra sounds taken by Mr. Ron Moorhead, what he recorded spoke Hebrew words too. So you can look up the Sierra sounds. I actually encourage you to do this. Look up the Sierra sounds. You will hear Hebrew words. I promise you that. Ohalo. Look it up. Ohalo. That's where I'm going to leave that. So we're finding literature, we're finding actual speech in both, tying to Hebrew culture. And this adds more weight to the theory that they could possibly be the missing tribe of Israel. They very well could be. Now, theories. Okay? Now, this is what we are doing here, is we're testing theories. So, back to test number 3's results. They actually had dropped us a new shell that day, so I'd been using my abalone shell to put all of their gifts in and stuff. They had brought their own, and inside was this copper buffalo bullion, and I've never seen one of these before. Honestly, I actually thought it was like a Navy Challenge coin at first because it's roughly the same size as like a Navy Challenge coin or like a Boy Scouts coin or something like that, but that would have Boy Scouts of the USA written across it, or Boy Scouts of America, Cub Scouts, Eagle Scouts, blah 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 blah, you know. But all that's written on this is 1 AVDP ounce 0.999 fine copper. So I was like, whoa, that's cool. So I immediately called up my brother and showed him that because he's a coin collector. But yeah, they brought their own shell to bring gifts and place gifts in. Um, so no, in test number 2, a team member added a small button in exchange for a bigger button. Now we believed that this was their interpretation of a bigger button. So that's what we thought. Um the chokeweed was open but left, so they had actually opened the container and busted it up and stuff and then just left it like that. Um Again, it adds more weight to what the farmers and growers in, Washington, Oregon, California, Wyoming, Utah, all these places that are growing this stuff are stating that they are robbing their crops. So, I mean, that's pretty wild. And the fact that they had busted it up almost to inspect it and then rejected it. So it was sampled later on and was rejected because it was rotten. Very perfumey, very, very, very perfumey. Um, Back to PG-13. So, the garlic salt was sampled, but the lid was replaced. So they had actually opened it up and tasted the garlic salt, and then put the lid back on. Um, all rocks were taken yet again. The incense that my our team psychic had left was taken. The second incense that she had used was a stick incense. The first one was like one of those like little spire um, turd looking ones that smell good. Um, but the stick was actually used as part of the asterisk writing, which was pretty cool. Um, and the cat toy was left alone. So, Saturday, April 13th, 2024. You know what? We're on half an hour here. We're going to pause just for a minute. Okay, back is stretched out. Arthritis in my back is just getting. Oh. All right. So, there were actually 3 finger smudge trails that erased the orb that I drew on test number 3. The boy and girl, the blue boy and the pink girl, were left untouched, and with the arrival of these 4 new asterisks, that might be because maybe we were dealing with multiple this night. That could be. The portal symbol that I drew had been crossed out completely, and a line drawn upright next to the walking man that I had drawn. So it looked just like this. I don't know if you guys can really decipher my chicken scratch here, but it was it, it was a direct answer stating, the we had asked the question, do you use portals, orbs, or do you walk? We have them erasing the portal, crossing out, or pardon me, crossing out the portal, erasing the orb, and drawing a line next to the walking man. Now, why wouldn't they cross out the orb too if they were saying no, maybe this is something that is one of those attributes that is, not everybody has this kind of ability, maybe. We also have to consider too, take into consideration what Uncle Sam is allowing us to know right now. And Uncle Sam has told us that UFOs are real. Now, if UFOs are real, that also means that their capabilities are real. That means shape-shifting, light emission, multiplying, dividing, invisibility, time manipulation, sonic travel without sonic boom, energy and frequency manipulation, and gravity manipulation are all real things. Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean it don't happen, right? So, let's move on there. There was also a symbol, and this is April 13th. Yes, on April 13th, we had discovered a symbol left on the trailhead between the houses here. That's the symbol. With 4 upright sticks underneath this symbol, we believe this symbol means a house with 4 residents, as this is outside of our house, and there are 4 people that live here. So we decided to pay more closer attention to that asterisk and test this theory that possibly they are keeping track of us. So Saturday, April 13th, test number 4 conducted at 9 o'clock p.m. The gifting bowl contents rosemary spice in a container, a 2.3 carat Ethiopian faceted gemstone with lots of color play to it. Now I figure if they like one opal, let's try a different type of opal and see if they like that one. We also had cookies in a container, peanut butter in a container, 2 clear quartz crystals, 1 rough emerald, 1 rough aquamarine, 1 large piece of amethyst, 1 small Idaho opal, and 1 white/clear marble. Now, before you guys ask where do I get all these minerals and stuff, I'm a rock hounder. I love collecting stones, so I've got too many rocks. Actually, I've got more rocks than I do. I've got more storage for rocks than I do my own clothes right now. So, moving on. The chalkboard, one question wrote out, do you read our language? Actually, so Saturday, April 13th, so this was actually revised. So the chalkboard, we had a bystander want to ask a question. Now, I still don't even know what this question was. But they drew a crescent sun and a blue moon with 2 people standing underneath of it. I don't understand what this means. Don't understand. So, I was kind of concerned about this too, because now this is bringing a bystander who isn't even here into the mix of the research here. So I'm like, okay, well then this is going to be tested in multiple ways here then. So let's see what happens. And on top of that, we had extra company over for the night too. So my brother-in-law actually came to stay the night, and I had also added 4 marshmallows to the gifting bowl too. Now, April 14th, 8 a.m., test number 4 results. Gifting bowl was left untouched, chalkboard left untouched, and the symbol on the trail changed from that to that. So you can see the first symbol has 4 sticks under it. The second symbol has 5. So this now adds more weight to the idea that they are keeping track of us, because now we have a 5th member in the house, and now there's a 5th stick underneath the asterisk. Now, maybe they didn't come into the yard that night because we had stayed up pretty late that night and having fun and everything, doing what adults do and stuff. So there was a bit of drinking involved. Maybe that kind of energy has like an effect. Maybe that's something they just don't want to be involved with. It could be, or maybe they were being shy because the new company. But with the extra stick added to the asterisk, this does add more weight and suggests that they are keeping count of us at this point. Okay. I ended up retesting the same, or I ended up retesting test 4 that night too. So the bowl was oriented exactly the same with the chalkboard too, just to see if anything would happen. The chalkboard was left untouched. The gifting bowl, however, the peanut butter was sampled with a finger dragged through the butter. The cookies were left alone, but they were opened and scattered across the table. So they probably don't like lemon cookies, just so you guys know. The amethyst, opal, emerald, and quartz were left, but the marble was taken. The rosemary was left alone. The sweetgrass was left alone. Their shell, we'll call that bowl number 2, had 4 items left in it. A large polished agate, almost looking like it's got a hue of opal to it. So 1 large polished agate, a small polished crystal, itty bitty, teeny tiny little polished crystal. A 1977 penny, and a pretty button. Now remember, in test number 2, my wife had put a button in the offering bowl. Now we got back the buffalo bullion, but we still thought that this was their interpretation of a button up until we received a button back. So it's not bigger, but it is different, and my wife likes it. So we decided to keep it. And then there were 3 asterisks as well that were left behind. One of them was a 3-dimensional asterisk. The other 2 were 2-dimensional. So these 2 were 2-dimensional. And then you can see I've got that one drawn as 3-dimensional. Now, how is that set up? So you've got a stick that stands like that diagonally, and then you have one that lies over that way and one that lies over this way. This one is the bottom stick. Now we have documented that asterisk at almost all research locations that we've come across. Every location that we're researching out here, this symbol keeps popping up at. So the fact that it was set up in a 3D manner also suggests that the literature as well could be a three-dimensional literature instead of two-dimensional, like the way that we read and stuff. You know, what if theirs is read from bottom to top, as ours is always, three-dimensional, bottom to top, whereas the English language is read two-dimensional, left to right, where the original transcripts were always written out right to left and stuff. There's so many different different directions you can go there. And no, we don't know what the symbols mean yet. So April 15th, 2024, test number 5, chalkboard. One question written in English: do you read my language? The gifting bowl, container 1 has peanut butter, container 2, crystal ginger. You guys can pick that up at the in the spice aisle. I love eating it just because. Container 3, sweet tobacco. So I actually went out and picked up American Spirits rolling tobacco. So if you guys are going to be trying to do this kind of stuff, I recommend doing this tobacco because they like that tobacco. It doesn't have any of the nasty flavors that like the cigarette tobacco has in it or anything like that. I guarantee you, if they're there to and they want some, they will have some. So I also put in some more of those crystals that were charged to 480 hertz, along with 2 cinnamon sticks as well. I went out and I built a 3-foot tall structure with 4 sticks to mimic, this is my tribe basically. But my wife made me take it down because she was not having it. She was not about to have the house look like the Blair Witch Project. So I decided to move on from that. We did use Mindspeak to attempt Mindspeak, that, if you will, and saying that if you can't read what's on the chalkboard, use the red color chalk, the blood color chalk, and just draw something, So April 16th, 8:04 a.m., test number 5, results, no activity. After checking the bowl, we decided to head to town for breakfast and grocery shopping. We returned to the house at around 12 o'clock p.m. At that point, the chalkboard remained untouched, but the offering bowl showed activity. The peanut butter was sampled again with another finger trail dragged through. The tobacco had been taken. The crystals were left. The ginger was left. And no asterisk use. Bowl number 2, crystals returned and different tobacco. Now, these are the crystals that we had been charging to 480 hertz with one of those sound like gong bowls. I don't know all of the stuff behind it. I'm following my team psychic behind this kind of research, but it's producing. So these are the crystals that we charged, and they came back. They showed back up in their offer bowl, not mine. And then some tobacco too. Now, I'm an extreme nicotine user. I had been chewing tobacco since I was probably about 11 years old. Always sneaking it from, hiding it from mom and everything, getting it from the seniors at school and stuff like that, and being a bad seed. But that being said, I know tobacco. I know tobacco very well. And I decided, okay, well, I'm going to take a small pinch of the American Spirits and I'm going to take a small pinch of what they left me here. And I chewed one at a time. And it had entirely different flavor, different texture, different grit. The nicotine rush that followed the American Spirits was a bit harsher than the nicotine rush that followed the stuff that they had left behind too. Theirs was a bit more dry too, where mine was a bit more damp, more moist, more fresh and stuff. It seemed like this had been stored in something that had airflow through it and stuff, so something that could not be sealed entirely. So it blew my mind. And that being said, I decided that I was gonna call up one of the elders that I trust very, very much. He's a wonderful friend of Legacy Discoveries, and both as a researcher and on a personal level as well. And I wanted to know what if he had come across any legends or any stories or anything like that on the reservation of them receiving tobacco back and stuff. And he told me, oh, absolutely they do. You got to understand, these are people that have been trading with us for long before Columbus ever landed here and stuff, and have just been written completely out of society. So he was like, absolutely they would give you tobacco. He was like, now my advice to you is you need to smoke the tobacco, and you need to pray, and you also need to state your 100% full intentions entirely. Lay it all out on the table for them. Let them know everything that you're doing. That way there's no lies between you. This is the way that it was done. And I said, okay. So I smoked the tobacco. I kept some of it. I kept some of the tobacco. This is actually a small piece of moss that was given on a later date. But I do have some of that tobacco still left. Now, I decided, okay, well, there's no lies between us, so I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I'm doing here. I'm trying to share with the rest of the world your human capacity. The fact that, our species can't see past its own arrogance, and understanding that others who walk on two legs as well can still be here the same as back in the day. I mean, how many different other human species have we walked with? So you got the whole evolutionary table. They want to tell you that one came after the other, but no, it did not go like that whatsoever. We were living alongside Neanderthals. We were living alongside Gigantopithecus. We were living alongside dinosaurs too. I mean, why is it that we're finding in like the Nevada desert and stuff human footprints alongside dinosaur footprints? And wouldn't you know it, they both are just about the exact same age. That's interesting stuff. I gotta let the dogs in. Okay, we're going on 49 minutes here. Where did I leave off? Okay, April 16th, 8 o'clock p.m. Test number 6, the gifting bowl contents. 2 Australian opal knobbies with a little bit of color play, just lightly, just like the blues and purples, the real common colors that you find. Container 1 had peanut butter. Container 2, sweet tobacco. On the chalkboard, I drew my Rockin' 71 symbol. I didn't draw it. I placed my symbol on the chalkboard using twigs. And then 4 apples were added to the table. And the IR camera that I've got that lets us see what's going on in the outside world, we actually ended up aiming that towards the table to test the theory. If they can see IR lighting, then my guess is that nothing's going to happen to the table while we've got the camera aimed at it. So that's where the test was headed. On April 17th, 2024, so we went from April 16th to April 17th, 9:40 a.m. The gifting bowl had no activity. Chalkboard, no activity. The trailhead asterisk had 3 dried leaves added to it that were maple leaves, and we live in the middle of a fir and pine, and like, what else do we got? We got fir, pine. That's about it. We ain't got no leafy trees out here, so the closest place that I can think of of a maple tree is literally the Spirit Lakes Town Park, which is miles away. I can't think of anywhere else. I mean, there might be another place down the road from here, but it's like another 15 miles to the slough. It might have maple leaves there. I'm not sure, but I remember seeing some sort of leaf tree there. But that being said, there are no leaf trees here. So these maple leaves were brought here from a great distance. And inside the maple leaf, 3 sticks were added to the asterisk, marking only 3 people being here, which was accurate. Myself, my wife, and our father, because our mother works she works night shift, so she doesn't get back to the house until probably, if she's not doing wound rounds, she doesn't get back to the house till about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning and stuff. So she's gone all night. Inside the maple leaves was a large shooter marble, blue. Now the one that we gifted was white, and it wasn't a shooter either. It was not this size. It was a regular size marble. So, and you can see on that too, like, look at all the dirt that is crusted on this thing too. This thing's been outside for quite some time. Okay. So, conclusions of this test: it appears the camera is causing a disturbance, just as predicted. Perhaps the activity still wishes to make contact by using the asterisk outside the fence that is out of camera view. This test will reconduct to see if results remain the same. April 17th, test number 6, recommencing, retesting the theory that the camera infrared light may be a type of light they can see, the same as an NVG. If this is so, then this would involve us making a sort of lid for the camera to block the LED and allow the camera to record still. I don't expect this type of light to be blinding, but maybe night vision impairing for those who can see it. If I can use a camera that doesn't emit an infrared beam, then perhaps I can get photographic evidence of the phenomenon. This supports the idea that more Sasquatch photos are taken during the daytime, when the infrared light is also being emitted by the sun as well. If this is true, the idea would be to make a donut cap for the camera to block the infrared light while recording at nighttime. I was unable to do that. Now, these aren't my cameras, so I have very little say on what happens to the cameras. So, April 18th, 10 o'clock a.m., 2024, test number 6 retest results. No results. With the activity as active as it has been, it is safe to assume they are avoiding the IR lighting. Now, this was at 10 o'clock a.m. Correction. Activity documented. Now, this happened possibly, I want to say it was about maybe 11 o'clock in the morning. I was actually in the middle of writing this whenever mom and the wife had actually found this stuff outside. So 3 rocks, a clump of moss, 1 hair, orange, and a rose hip was found out of the camera view on Dad's truck tailgate. Thoughts? Moss is an elder plant. It takes years upon years for moss to grow, just a centimeter. So moss can also be represented as the tenacity and connectivity of life itself. Some would consider moss to be a memory sponge, is a good representation of moss. Containing the energy of so many different years is also like with what Zach Baggins and his paranormal research team look into with the mnemonic impressions. Mnemonic impressions aren't necessarily a ghost, more of the residual energy that was left by somebody by an event of something that had taken place there. And then you're just basically seeing a repeat of it, and it just keeps going. It's just in a cycle, and this is a mnemonic impression is what they call it. So possibly moss contains information. I guess your guess is as good as mine on how to read it. So, but it could tell a very old story if that were true. So on April 18th at 8:05 p.m., I began test number 7. I again did my Rockin' 71 symbol out of sticks. And in the gift bowl, I put grandfather sage, sweetgrass, quartz crystals. Container 1 had tobacco. Container 2, peanut butter. 2 Australian opal knobbies. And 4 Granny Smith apples. The chalkboard drawing of a honeycomb with a few bees in attempt to receive honeycomb in return. Now, I was not aware. I'm not a beekeeper. I was not aware this is the totally wrong season to be asking for honeycomb because by this time the bees have already eaten it throughout the entire winter in order to survive, and now they're just now waking back up to restart on their work. So that was kind of a dumb question, I guess. But that'd be really cool. That would be really cool if one day a piece of honeycomb just winds up here. The Trailhead Asterisk only had 3 sticks left in it, too, which was still accurate to the amount of people that was here. April 19th, 2024. Yeah. Test number 7 results. 6:45 a.m. 2 apples were taken. No other activity. 9:30 a.m. 2 stones polished, placed on the table with multiple asterisks added to the table. the chalkboard still had no response. Now I said multiple, but it was actually only 2 asterisks that showed up. It was these 2. Okay. Now, we had got this one. Wait. So this one, and I believe this one, were the 2 stones that were given. This one is a very coffee and pink agate. I've never seen a rock like this before. It literally looks painted, but that's not painted. Oh, there's fluorescence in it too. I had no idea this had fluorescence in it. Wow, it doesn't even look the same on the camera either. There's like a real creamy color that goes through the whole thing, and it's just real creamy pink. Very pretty stone, by the way. I've never seen any other one like that before, so that goes into the collection for sure. And then this one is just a kind of polished river rock. I wonder if there's anything. No, actually. Nah, nothing too fancy about that guy. But still, really cool. Now, assuming the results are based on the moral of only take what is needed, you know. So, what I'm stating right there is, as unlike us, humans are greedy. Humans are selfish. Humans are very self-centered, self-righteous. We're terrible people. So the idea that what if their morals are much different than ours? What if they stay away from 3 basic things from us? Our greed, our arrogance, and our self-righteousness. Those 3 things that are our demise, okay? They stay away from these things. They are morally unsound attributes to have because they only lead to more and more sin, more and more deceit, more and more suffering and pain, right? And everything is built off of greed. Everything is built off of greed. The cell phone you're watching this through, or the TV, or the computer, everything is built off of greed. The streets, your clothes, your food, everything, even your medicine, everything that we do is all based out of greed. So, you go to a fishing hole and you see, oh, there are 4 nice sized trout in there. 4 real nice sized trout. I only need 1. Oh, I'm going for all of them. That's typical. These are a type of people that only take what they need. So I put out 4 apples. They only take 2. They leave 2 asterisks behind for me. That being said, these 2 symbols could very well be names as well, and names of people that each took a single apple for themselves because they are not greedy. They're not greedy people. So, based on the assumption, this would suggest that we are working with 2 more individuals. Side note, we think we may be the talk of the woods here. What I meant by that was maybe this first symbol that we came across, right? One that kind of looks like an A. Maybe this person told these people, and these people told these 2 people. or these 3. You know, maybe everything that I'm documenting here, maybe they're all names. If that's true, then I've been visited by over 30. But if that's not true, if that states that it's just only half accurate, that we're getting names and literature on top of that, then I've definitely got one here. Definitely. The possibility of 2 on one occasion, the possibility of 4 on another occasion. The idea that we may be dealing with the same clan that I'm researching over at Site Charlie and Site Bravo, because we're on the same stretch of land. We're on the same stretch of land here. If we're dealing with that clan in particular, then I'm expecting 8 of them entirely, because the teepee structures that they leave behind, pay attention to that, because we're understanding now that the amount of sticks it takes to make these teepee structures that they lean up against trees and stuff is them stating the amount of people that are in their clan. Moving on. Okay. So, we left off on April 19th. On April 20th, the day before my birthday, actually, no test was conducted because we ended up having company over. So my brother-in-law came over with both my niece and my nephew, and we decided, okay, we're just gonna put the tests up for right now, until, you know, this is more private and everything, because we don't want the kids, you know, getting into anything that we're testing here, and we also, you know, don't want to raise too many questions with, you know, those of us who don't understand. So at 8:30 a.m., no activity, of course, because we didn't do anything. At 10:20 a.m., 7 sticks were recorded in the asterisk on the trailhead. So that right there, 7. There are 4 people that live here. We had 3 more show up, and 3 more sticks showed up in that asterisk. So 2 of them were kids, of course, my niece and my nephew. And looking at the asterisk, they actually made 2 sticks much smaller than the other 5 sticks that were there. The activity seems to have been taking place somewhere between 9 o'clock and 9:30 in the morning. Because, I mean, we even checked the asterisk at 8:30 in the morning, and there's nothing. Nothing. April 21st, my birthday, 10 o'clock p.m. Test number 8. So, wait, hold on. Did I skip a big chunk? No, I didn't. Okay. So on the chalkboard, I actually drew 2 silhouettes. One of them was colored in, one of them was just outlined with a question mark in between. This question that I was asking are you invisible? You know, maybe this is a poltergeist that I'm dealing with that is actually, you know, ghost, maybe. It's possible. It is possible. The trailhead asterisk still had 7 sticks inside it. We don't touch this asterisk at all. We do not touch this asterisk. It does what it will do. And we document it. The only time that I've actually touched the asterisk was to retrieve the marble that was left there. And I A couple days ago, I actually took some wildflowers and I braided them together, and then placed them on top of the asterisk. Those are gone now, by the way. Those are so. Um, One thing is about the asterisk, we know what it means, but we don't know if this was intentional for us to learn what it means, or if this is their symbol that they use to communicate with others amongst them, to let them know, hey, there are 7 people in this house. You know, maybe this is something of what I read a book a long time ago called The Neighbors, and in this book they were talking about um, like one that would go forward like a scout, basically, and the scout would go through, blaze the trail, basically, come back and do reports and stuff, and tell the rest of them, you know, what they saw, where's the best trail, they found berries here, they found salmon there, you know. Um, that's what we believe this symbol is used for. Is it's possibly for the scout. It's the scout comes in, he finds his route through and everything, and along the way maybe picks up a friend. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. I don't understand how this type of activity has come here. Now, we have a couple different theories because we moved this house from Site Golf to here, which is now Site Hotel. Site Golf is the site that I was actually able to record the whistles, and it's also where we found the hut structure as well. We also found another handprint down there too, and so many structures as well. We also we believe we came within possibly maybe 20 yards of one whenever it took off sprinting through the swamp area too, because you listen to it and you can hear not not galloping. It's 2 feet sprinting through the swamp. Um, but so we took this house from that place, moved it over here now, which is I think 85 miles away or something like that, 75 miles away. But we could be followed. That's been noted before as being followed, being attached, like similar to poltergeist activity, where you, let's say, you buy something from a. Is it snowing? Welcome to Idaho. But let's say you go to an antique store, you pick up something, and then you go home with it. All of a sudden, things start going weird at your house and everything because there's a spirit attached to that item that you bought and stuff. It could possibly be something along those similar lines there. We just don't know. Um, but yeah, getting back to test number 8. The container 1 had tobacco in it, container 2, peanut butter. On Before conducting test number 8, activity had actually occurred between the hours of 8:30 p.m. and 10 o'clock p.m. So I had gone out to drop test number 8 onto the table, and I was met with 5 symbols, um, along with 2 rocks added to the bowl. One rock was shaped like a heart. So I got me a heart on my birthday. They gave me a heart. And along with another one of these little rockos, the black rock. I might be mixing the rocks up. Actually, I think I think that one was actually the one that came with the heart. But anyways, so these 4 symbols, or 5 symbols, pardon me, were these 5 symbols. This symbol, I was looking up last night, this symbol actually falls into a omen. Am I saying that right? OMAN. Super old writing. It's like Hatchmark. Like they used something that had like just like they used something that kind of looked like this paintbrush on their clay, and that's how they would write. They would just stamp, and it was just lines of hatch marks and stuff all over the place, and that's what they read. That's how they read things. But yeah, one of that symbol in particular correlates with omen, I believe. April 22nd now, 8:15 a.m. 2024, test number 8 results. No activity at the table yet, but the trailhead asterisk changed from 7 back to 3. April 23rd, 7 a.m. No offering bowl was left out, and same chalk drawing left out. 5 new asterisks had appeared, and in the form of what looked like a sentence too. And these were the ones that showed up. Now this gets very interesting because a lot of these symbols are starting to get closer and closer to runic and Hebrew. Now we've given the nickname here. What you guys see is left to right. I'm seeing it as right to left. Or actually, that's backwards. You guys see it as right to left. I see it as left to right. But it looks like it's written out Nama. So we've given the nickname Nama. Okay. April 23rd. We're starting to catch up to present time. I'm placing my handprint into a container to see if another will be left behind. So this is test number 9. The chalkboard, the drawing of 3 men above ground with a truck and 3 Sasquatch underground with a question mark. This was asking, do you guys live underground? The offering bowl, container 1, had tobacco, container 2, peanut butter, a small chunk of aquamarine, Idaho opal, quartz crystals, 2 big ones and 5 small ones, and a piece of labradorite, and 1 large brownie that was homemade. This was at 9:30 p.m. Wednesday, April 24th, 6:30 a.m. No results. Test number 9 will recommence at dusk. 6 p.m. New symbol on the table. No other activity. Now this new symbol looked kind of like a boat. So they changed my Rockin' 71 to this boat-looking one right here. Thursday, April 25th, 2024, 7 a.m. No results. 10:38 a.m. A double-stamped handprint was left in test number 9's kit. This handprint was stamped like that and like that, except no thumb on this side, of course. The thumbs were the thumb actually stayed in its own pocket both times, but the fingers did this. So I had one deep one and then a lighter one on top that was like that. So the fingers had to be deciphered. And what I ended up doing, actually, if you guys try to do this too, because I'm going to tell you guys my problems that I had right out the gate so that you guys don't have them if you do try it. Get yourself a coffee straw and use flour. Flour is the perfect stamping material that captures fine detail as well, and I mean like finger creases and stuff where you can see the dermal ridges and stuff like that. So do that, and then get yourself some hairspray. And if you do get a stamp received, you gently from a distance, you spray the shit out of it from a distance there and everything until you start seeing the flower turn almost like a yellow color and stuff, and then stop. Let it dry, let it do its thing, come back to it maybe a half an hour later or so, and then do your mixing and stuff and your pouring and yeah. So I failed miserably on this handprint. And it still breaks my heart to this day because it was the physical evidence that I had to prove what is happening here is like it was my physical evidence. And I got the mixture wrong. And whenever I went to pour it and stuff, I poured it out and it pooled up and stopped, and then it dried. So when I tried lifting the jar up, it lifted up the hand as well and ruined the rest of the stamp. So moving on away from depression, we could, due to the size of the handprint and stuff, we were able to make quite a bit of assumptions. And we assume we're dealing with a someone who is between the ages of 11 to 13 is where we're putting the age difference. 160 pounds to 220 pounds, between 5'7" to 6'2" is everything that we were able to estimate off of this handprint, and estimating size comparison in relation to ourselves and age as well. So the casting was attempted at 5:30 p.m. And that's whenever it was ruined. I ended up retesting test number 9 for several days afterwards. I still haven't been able to get that handprint again. They do keep coming by though, so I retested test number 9 6 times with nothing. I will just read through these notes really quick though. They seem to be playful. Maybe the size of the print tells us this print was left by an early teen or a preteen. This time I will place my Rockin' 71 inside my handprint to see if they do the same. Maybe I can narrow down some names. Basically, so I put the Rockin' 71 made out of twigs in my handprint to see if they would copy and do like their own asterisk for this is my name, and then I can mark that down. Okay, that's a name. That's not a word. That's a name and stuff. So, April 26th, 2024, 6:30 a.m., test number 9, round 3, no results. 7 a.m., an X asterisk, and 2 stones left, or were left behind. 1 large coffee pink agate, that'd be that really pretty one that I was showing you guys. And an arrowhead too. So I went and I put 2 arrowheads into the offering bowl the night before. I don't have it written down here, but I put 2 arrowheads in the offering bowl the night before. Both of them were still there in the morning, but this little guy showed up in their bowl. And so that's just wild. Okay, moving on. Okay, added to the gifting bowl last night were 2 arrowheads, 1 amethyst. Note, everything in the gifting bowl remains untouched. This is a new arrowhead. Okay, April 26th, test number 9, round 4. It rained last night, but due to the new rock and arrowhead, I expect a little rain to not phase them. This test remains untouched, and will be checked periodically throughout the day. 10:45 a.m., no results. 12 o'clock, no results. 1400, no results. I added my asterisk to the top of the lid and drew on the chalkboard multiple fruits with a question mark to ask what type of fruit they would like to eat. So I drew huckleberries, I drew a banana, an apple, watermelon, and strawberry, and some cherries. So I drew... I think I left a dog outside. Sorry, bud. Still love you. Oopsie. It's been like snowing out there. Okay. So I drew all those fruits on there too. So at 1600, no results. 1800, no results. 2200, no results. So April 27th, 7 o'clock, no results. 10 o'clock, no results. The activity has seemed to come to a halt. April 27th, 2024, test number 9, round 5. Still working on results. I've tried adding more stones to the bowl. I've tried refreshing the tobacco. I've tried copying their symbols. It seems as if they've only passed through. This now presents more questions. Perhaps this early in the season they may be in the valley for mushrooms and dandelions, because they're popping up all over the place right now. They are still keeping track of us. Maybe they haven't retreated entirely, though the neighborhood gunfire is resembling July 4th, and the rain may have something to do with it. I'm not sure. I am going to reset the gifting bowl with all new goodies. Maybe they don't like the rocks. A new theory added. Attitude and positivity may encourage engagements as well. I will shower and then cleanse. It is time to pray. As I said, I'm going into absolute detail about everything that I was doing here, so you guys are even going to hear my prayer. Eldest is my soul, to my body young and meek. I long to be free through Christ who strengthens me. You are my shepherd, I the sheep, and may you lead me to your flock where you give me peace. I am lost, and you are the way. I surrender to your will this day, for you are the way, the truth, and the light. Amen. After April 27th, test number 9, still round 5? Yeah, we're still on round 5. I am redoing the test, and instead of bringing the bowl back to the table, instead bringing the bowl back to the table. So what I was doing in test number 9, I didn't state that clearly. was I'd taken my bowl and I put it inside the top, or the huge container that had all the flour in it with the lid on it and stuff. So that's where the bowl was. So it's like kind of like leave your handprint, receive a goodie, carry about, you know, kind of a thing. And it worked beautifully the first time, but they have not come back since, or they haven't retried it at least since. Container 1 had tobacco. Container 2, peanut butter. The same stones as before, though. Oh, the kids got into my notebook there. Okay. Removing the handprint test from the table, adding popsicle sticks to see if they used them. Bowl now moved from table to exterior fence to encourage activity. Maybe they're staying outside the fence because they know one of our tenants is unnerved by them. April 28th, 2024, 8:22 a.m. I stand corrected. The test box and the gifting bowl were left untouched. The chalkboard was undisturbed. The table, however, was left with 10 to 11 asterisks. I drew a heart a few nights ago on the table in yellow chalk. This morning there was a small chunk of moss and a dandelion puff sitting inside the heart. Now, the first time that we had received moss, it was because we had moved the camera to the table, and then we ended up getting... Did I not even record that? I don't think I recorded that. So we ended up getting stuff happened to Mike's tailgate, the tailgate of his truck. And let me pause this. Okay, so it was on April 18th, somewhere around 11 o'clock to noon, where we had actually found a clump of moss, a rose hip, and 3 rocks and 1 hair that was orange too on the tailgate of Mike's truck. Now, after I removed the handprint test from the table and all this stuff just showed up on the table and stuff, yeah, we had quite a bit of moss get put inside the heart with a dandelion puffball too, like a perfect one too. And I thought it was cool, so I took them both too. I put the dandelion puff in my hat, not thinking it was gonna go anywhere. Yeah, that. At least my job was done. I spread the seeds. So, there were also, 10 to 11 different asterisks that were being used that day. So one of them actually looks kind of like a bird. This is the one that I see kind of looks like a bird. But all of these were all recorded that day. Number 9, I'm sure you guys can recognize that one because that was actually right there. So they used that one and just turned it. So I wonder if it means the same thing, if it means anything different on the direction that you read it. As we've stated before, they could be reading 3-dimensionally instead of 2-dimensionally, right? So, I am now attempting to teach a bit of our literature by laying out sticks to match the numbers 1 through 9. Now, I didn't get very far with this because the weather had kicked up. Now, the idea is that we have something to learn from each other, and this is where we do our best to try and understand what they are showing us, and we do our best to try and teach them something too as well. So I'm trying to learn their literature, and it has seemed through these tests that they don't know our literature. So that being said, I'm starting with numbers. So starting from 0 to 9, I am going through, and as it's laid out here, putting one popsicle stick underneath one, 2 under 2, 3 under 3, 4 under 4, 5 under 5, doing it in the tally mark system, right? All the way up to 9. But I'm leaving 7 blank so that they can go through and see the pattern and see the symbol, and then have 7 written on the chalkboard with a question mark asking, what's the value of 7? Demonstrate the value of 7 and stuff. Maybe this is something that I can teach them, and in turn we can have some sort of a connective relationship there. So that's what I'm attempting here. I just need the weather to cooperate with us, because every time I set the popsicle sticks out there, they get blown off the table. Okay, last log. Now we're all caught up. April 29th, 2024, 7 a.m. No changes to the table. The trail asterisk continues its activity. The flowers I placed there a few days ago have been taken. Maybe the foul weather is deferring activity from escalating. Activity will continue to be logged. However, the tests will cease until activity rises. So I am stating now that until we get all of this, I mean, that's everything that they've been giving me, you guys. So until the activity escalates again, I'm going to cease the tests and just continue just to log what happens out here. Because, I mean, we've been given 2 hairs, that one and that one. One of them appears to be a whisker. Orange, which is the same color that the Mindspeak of my teammate had received, was thinking that we were dealing with an adolescent girl who is orange color, or orangish red. So, and then a red hair pops up. That's just okay. Okay. So we're taking everything with a grain of salt, but we are observing everything and admiring everything. I know it's observe everything, admire nothing. No, we're going to go on, we're going to flip that real quick. We're going to observe everything and we're going to admire everything. We're either going to admire it as something that is natural or something that is unnatural, but everything is to be observed. So that catches us up on Site Hotel. Thank you guys for sticking with me throughout this entire video. I know it's been kind of a grueler and kind of death by PowerPoint almost, but hopefully this kind of relationship that I've got going on here will shed more light on helping us gain a future with them. I would hate to see our future turn out the same way that it did for like the Neanderthals or anything like that, because we ultimately ended up slaughtering all of them. As I've said before, we are a greedy people. So why not learn to share a little bit, right? Give a little bit of room to these guys. So that is where we're at. Just waiting for that weather to die down, and that way the tests can continue, or the activity will be continued to be recorded. other than that, yeah, thank you guys so much for all your guys' support and wanting to learn the truth with me here. I'm not sure how much I've actually learned here. It's more been just kind of mindlessly throwing stuff at them just to see what they will do with it and stuff. But what is really cool is that we do have one symbol that is definite, and this is that symbol. So we have learned at least something from them. Let's see if that'll continue. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm Mitchell Willie. I'm the founder of Legacy Discoveries. You guys can hit that subscribe button. It won't cost you a dime. You know, we're all just here looking for the truth, just common people. I'm not an egghead. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a politician. I'm not rich. I'm not any of these things. I'm an average Joe just looking for answers. So hit that follow button, and hopefully more of this crazy stuff keeps coming, because I mean, this is the weirdest it's gotten for me ever. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me again. Take care.